We got some new vintage collection in the house, and man, I gotta say with one of these, it's a bad time to be a Black Series collector because, ooh, man, your version sucks. Yours sucks, man. This one's great, yours sucks. But anyways, we got Lando Calrissian finally, after like how long? Oh my gosh, let me do some quick maths real quick. We're talking like 16, 17 years it's been since we've gotten a nice new Lando Calrissian. And don't worry, we'll compare him to the old one. We'll take a look. And then we have IG-11 finally in Vintage Collection. That may have been the one I was talking about at the start. And we finally, after forever, have a super articulated version of Emperor Palpatine as he appeared in Return of the Jedi. Oh my gosh. We seriously never had one of those. We really didn't. We had like some like expanded universe versions, some sort of Return of the Jedi Emperor, but not really. It was in like Force Unleashed packs and like Sith packs. We've had Phantom Menace, we've had Revenge of the Sith, we've had Empire Strikes Back, the specialized one, where it was like a woman in makeup. We got that one before we got Return of the Jedi. But here we are. We got a new Lando, we got a new Mandalorian character, and we finally have a new Emperor. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Lando. Because, ooh man, good old Billy D, he's looking good. And, yeah, nice classic Empire Strikes Back, Billy D card back. I mean, that's a classic picture right there. You can see on the back, another figure in the wave was Tebow, but he's basically just a re-release on a TVC card. I'm sure they updated the paint a little bit, but I have the old Tebow. Tebow's been around. I'm not going to talk about Tebow. But yeah, I mean, some pretty good-looking figures there. Unfortunately, over half of them are just reissues, but it's all good. But yeah, Lando's card's nice, and let's get into Lando, because, oh man, oh boy. Let's all do our best Billy D. Williams impression. Colt 45. I was almost Two-Face. Yeah, this is great. This is really good. The collar is actually fabric, which was kind of surprising to me, but it surprisingly really works. The head sculpt is great. Unfortunately, I think mine's misprinted just ever so slightly, so it looks like the eyes are just ever so slightly off. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, if you see it from certain angles, like, it looks perfectly fine. From others, it's like, oh, a little off there. But yeah, it's all good. I mean, it looks great. It definitely looks like Billy. Definitely 100%. I mean, his gun is great. That looks great. He's got the little communicator on his wrist. And, like, look, that's actually all detailed and everything. So you can't actually have him. And he's articulated enough. He can reach it. He can actually, like, hit his little communicator. Look at his cape. Look at his cape. It looks so good. It's got all the deco in it. All the little flowers and things. Oh, man. It is stitched. It is stitched at a couple points. So that makes it even cooler. Because it is stitched, you can actually fold it over. You can kind of finagle it. Get it folded over. I don't know if you can really get it over his shoulders like you even see on the card back. I don't know if you can do that. Let me give it a go. Not really. Sort of you can. I feel like it's kind of stretching it. You kind of can. Sort of. You can get it over his arms and over his body. Not really over his torso. But you can actually also fold it behind his back too if you want to give him that look. But you can just pop off his head and straight up remove it if you want. I haven't done this yet, so let's pray. Ooh! Oh, phew, that sounded a little rough. That sounded a little rough. I was worried for a second that I had just broken my Lando. Yeah, maybe don't do that. Yeah, that sounded a little... That was like a snap right there. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you want to take his cape off, you can. If you want to give him more of a casual look. I do think he did take his cape off at one point, right? I don't know if he looked like this exactly, but yeah, I didn't even fully pop the head back on. Let's just get the cape back on. And let's probably never do that again, because that was kind of scary. Yeah, his gun's nice. His pants are nice. I like his pants. His pants look nice. Did I say his pants look nice? His pants look nice. Can bend his knees. Come on. There we go. Got a nice deep knee bend. Let's just go over that articulation. ball joint, ball hinge. It's pretty standard. He does have a nice sculpt to the torso, though, where you can get his arms kind of close together. He's got nice deep elbows. They're finally learning, and they're just giving up and down wrists. They're finally figuring it out, that these are the most useful range of wrist motion. They're finally figuring it out. Because, like, this is just, it's not that useful. It really isn't. And then the waist, it doesn't really crunch too much, but you do get a nice little wiggle waggle. Hips can move out, then you can swing them forward. Got the thigh swivel, got the knee bend, and then his ankles, unfortunately, are actually like old style. He's actually got like old style ankles. They like hinge up and down and swivel. So I don't know what's going on with that. Like, does he reuse the boots from the old one? We'll take a look. Because I've got the old one that I've had forever. And somehow it has not yellowed, because this figure actually yellows. But yeah, man, that old one, I mean, it was alright. It was alright for its time. Does it share boots? It does not. These shoes are smaller. It was alright for its time, but as you can see, it was too small. It was like, even back then, I was like, this Lando's a little too small. His cape stuck out so unnaturally. Like this one with the stitching, you can't actually get it in more natural positions. This one was just straight up like boink. He had the arm, the elbow swivels, which normally I actually don't mind. But with this guy, like, you know, he always had to have his arms kind of inward to look any way decent. Because if he had him straight, then he was just kind of like, I'm Lando, which did kind of work for that, you know, Lando pose, but just doesn't really work. I mean, this figure's old, man. It's from 2004, right? Yeah, 2004. So yeah, we're going on 16, 17 years for this guy. Yeah, we needed a new one. We really did. Now, granted, not a bad figure. It's still pretty good, but we needed a new one. We needed it. So that's Lando. I think I've talked enough about him. Let's go on to another brand new figure in the wave, IG-11. His card back's pretty cool. I feel like it's kind of low res, though. If you get in close, I don't feel like it's too high res. But that's a pretty cool picture right there. It's IG-11. He was awesome in the show. He really was. Yeah, it's a nice card back. I like it. So let's take a look at our boy, our all-new... I just dropped the Emperor card. That's nice. So let's take a look at our all-new boy here. Yes, I said it. He is all new. Because he could have reused IG-11 or IG-88, but he did not. He is all new. And he's great. Do I have a couple issues with him? Yes, I do have a couple issues, and we'll get into that. But overall, man, let's just take a look. If it'll focus. He's very stick thin, so I don't even know if it'll want to focus on him. There we go. Let's get the manual going. So yeah, his head. Look at that. You can move it multiple rotation points. It's so great. You can move like his little eyes. He's got the nice paint on the shoulders. The arms look really good. I love the straps. Straps are really nice. He just dropped his weapon. We'll talk about that. But his hands, he actually does have new hands. He's got the proper hands. And they are sculpted to hold the weapons, right? They are. But just the nature of his weird, funky hands, they do fall out sometimes. So be mindful of that. It's just the nature of the design, honestly. Yeah, he's got a nice looking waist there. He does have the tubes on his legs, and they do plug in, and they do unplug very easily. But that's something I can actually live with, because that means they're not going to break. They're just going to be unplugging on you. I would rather them just unplug than break, because you can pose it, they'll unplug, you can replug them after you're done with the pose. Oh man, this is really nice looking. And he's an appropriate size too. The Black Series IG-88 was puny, and he had a puny, stupid little head. And he looks puny and stupid. And they reused the IG-88 for IG-11. But next to Mando, in Vintage Collection, you can see IG-11 is nice. He's big. He's got the big old head. He looks great. He's perfect. It's very nice to have a cool IG-11. But got to compare him to IG-88. And here is the original, very fragile, very scary IG-88. So you can see, yeah, they're basically the same size. Completely different figures. Completely different. This thing I'm scared to touch. This thing is super fun and awesome, but it does have a couple issues. I'll talk about it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, this one you can still move the eye. You can still move his head, but it's just at the one point. But this one, you actually get the 2 points there. And you can just move the head in general. So that's really neat. But yeah, let's get into the articulation, because that's actually where he's both cool and troublesome. So let's just make my life a little easy. Let's remove his weapons, which oddly enough, even though he is a different droid in general, he basically has the same weapons loadout as IG-88 did. So he's got an E-11 with like some added parts on it. And he sort of has like that sniper rifle. Let's bring in IG-88 here. Like, it's sort of the same thing, but it doesn't have the scope. It's not even focused. Oh my gosh. These TVC figures are just so small, my camera doesn't even know what to do with them. You can see they basically have the same weapon, except this one's smaller, doesn't have the scope. It's kind of modified. So yeah, it's kind of funny that they have the similar weapons loadouts, but they're totally different characters with no connection to each other. IG-11's articulation. He's got a swivel at the head. He's got 2 points of rotation at the head. Are we going to stay focused or what? My camera hates this figure. He's just so stick puny. Swivel at the shoulder. He's got a ball joint at the shoulder that actually gives him like a rotation and an in and out. His elbows. My first point of issue. This one's really nice. Works great. Swivels, hinges. This one is so tight. The plastic wants to bend before the elbow bends. That's not good. My camera's like, oh, I don't know what to look at anymore. But yeah, to bend this elbow, I seriously have to like apply very specific pressure to get it to bend, and even then it's still very clicky and scary. And I don't like bending this elbow. Like, I'm still worried I'm gonna break it. I guess there's just too much plastic or something in it. It's horrifying. I really hope your IG-11 doesn't have that. He does have a swivel at the waist there. I don't think he has any sort of crunch. Would have been cool if he did, but I don't think he does. I mean, he might, actually. Almost looks like he does. Oh, he does. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He's got a crunch. Oh my goodness. Yeah. He's got a crunch, guys. I didn't think he did. He also has a swivel down there, too. He's got wrist swivels. By the way, he's got the proper hands, just a reminder, because IG-88's hands are a little different. Just a little bit. His hips. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that. And then his thigh swivel. His knee. Oh, look at that. You can bend his knee. And then his ankles. You can move them up and down. No tilt, unfortunately, but like not really a part of the design there. So yeah, basically the articulation, like how the hoses come out, like I do understand it, I do like it, but also it is kind of annoying. Like it's a give and take on that. It's mostly this one elbow, man. It is horrifying. Oh, jeez. Ooh. Like it's such a firm click too. Yeah, IG-11 is an absolute winner. Absolute winner. And I love him, and I strongly recommend him. So, with IG-11 out of the way, let's talk about the biggest, the baddest, the Emperor. I have waited so long to see this card back in TVC. I have waited so long, and here it finally is. The classic Return of the Jedi Emperor package. Looks good. It's looking good. Man, we are at VC 200. He is the 200th vintage collection figure. Well worth it. Well worth the title. Kind of criminal, though. It took 200 of these things to finally get the main villain from Star Wars in his most iconic appearance. It took 200 figures deep to get this, but here we are. So yes, here is the Emperor. And one distinct thing about this Emperor is that he is angry. He's mad. He's got a mad face. He's pretty mad. He's pretty angry. And you may like that. You may love that. You may not like that. And, I mean, if you don't, there is the throne room set. You know, get a nice throne. Get the nice window. It's not too overpriced. It's pretty good. It's an option for you. But for the single-carded version, he is angry. And I like that for the shocky hands, which are gorgeous, by the way. I love how they painted him, and it just goes into the shockiness. So he's got those, but he also has normal hands for doing normal stuff, like being evil and bad. And these hands, actually, if I'm not mistaken, these hands, this like left gestural hand and then this like sort of gripping hand, are reused from the base figure, which is this, the Phantom Menace version of Darth Sidious. So yeah, if we lift up his Sith skirts real quick, you can see, yep, same legs, same figure. I both totally understand this, and also I look at this and I just question, what took you guys so long to do it? You know, because like, I'm not over here like, oh man, my Emperor can't move his legs out. Like, who cares, you know? My Emperor can't move his legs out. Jeez. Who really cares about that? Because he's covered with fabric all the time anyway. He sits fine. His robes are really nice. It's a good body. It's a good body. I have no complaints that they reuse this nearly 10-year-old body. I really have no issue because, like, at this scale, you can't really get too much better than like what they were able to do in like 2012. Now, granted, I feel like it was 2017 or 18 where we got the current quality with, you know, the ankle pivots and the you know, the outward hips and the nice deep elbows and always having wrist hinges. This guy doesn't have all of that. And some people may be disappointed in that, but me personally, it's the Emperor. He doesn't need all of that. This hand is kind of deceptive though, because it is actually bent downward. It actually makes him look like his elbow doesn't bend as much as it does. But yeah, man, he also comes with his cane, of course. I mean, it's the Emperor. He's got his cane. No lightsaber because he doesn't need his lightsaber because this is the Return of the Jedi one. If you want a lightsaber, get Darth Sidious from Phantom Menace. Get Darth Sidious from Revenge of the Sith. This one, you don't need it. Yeah, man, it's just a nice figure. Let's get that hood off. And let's take a look at his evil head. Look at how evil. Oh, wow. Look at his evil hair. I love it. It's pretty great. It's funny how they still basically give him that hair. Even though it's kind of just like I love looking at the behind-the-scenes pictures of Ian in Return of the Jedi when he's got his hood down. It looks so hilarious. Yeah, man, I don't have too much to say. It's an Emperor. It's pretty basic. It's the Emperor. He's got the basic articulation. He's got the single ball joint at the head. Ball hinge at the shoulders, ball hinge at the elbow, swivel at the wrist, swivel at the waist, swivel at the hip, ball hinge at the knee, goes about 90 degrees. He's got like the ball hinge and swivel at the ankle. It's a basic figure, you know, it's the Emperor. But we have needed this super basic figure for so long, it just baffles me that Hasbro waited all this time. 200 figures deep, 11 years into the vintage collection. That's how long it took to get this, but here we are. Here we are. And do I feel like it was worth the wait? I mean, I wouldn't say it was worth the wait, but yes, it's a very good figure. Just look at that. That is straight up Palpatine. That is straight up the Emperor, and I am so down for it. And out of all three of these figures, I recommend all of them. All three of these are amazing. IG-11, he's a little iffy on that elbow joint. And the tubes are a little annoying, but hey, at least they won't break. But yeah, all new mold for IG-11. I hope we get an IG-88 out of that too. I'd love to see an IG-88. Lando's great. Lando's really good. I wish the cape could maybe go over the shoulders a little bit more. Wish he had ankle pivot. But overall, Lando's great. He might have some reuse for those ankles. I don't know who, but he might have some. And then Palpatine, I mean, it took forever. And, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's great. It's Palpatine. It just took way too long. And I'm really excited to get the figure again with the throne and a different head sculpt because I definitely want to use that figure for different displays. So I'm really happy that I get two options there. But yeah, guys, there we go. New wave of TVC in the bag. Man, remember when new waves were like 6 figures? And now it's just like 3. Aw, man. I miss the days. But yes, every new figure they give us is fantastic. You know, it is what it is. I always end these TVC reviews on the same kind of note. Like, I wish they'd give us more. Wish they'd be easier to find. But here they are. But hey, these were actually found in a Target. So these are out there. You can find them. They're accessible. They sell out super fast because Hasbro doesn't still understand the demand for vintage collection. But, I mean, they're out there. You can get them. Unfortunately, pre-orders say they won't ship until February 2022. For whatever crazy reason, I am sure they are going to ship way earlier than that. I'm sure once the warehouses get them, like Hasbro Pulse is going to send emails like, hey, great news, your vintage collection figures are going to ship earlier than expected. You know, I'm sure that'll happen, but still, man, it's crazy. Almost half a year out, these are going to ship. It's so weird. It's so weird, man. Anyways, I've rambled long enough. Hope you guys enjoyed my video. Make sure to check out my Patreon, and special thanks out to the patrons of Patreon. You guys are awesome. Thank you all so much for the continued support. I really appreciate you guys. Alrighty, there we go. New TVC in the bag. I'll see you guys. Bye.